Good morning. Good rising, we say. It's Mary Christ Consciousness Eve, is what I've been calling Christmas for the past few years. And I just felt it on my heart this morning. And I'm probably going to cry. I don't know if a lot of you are feeling this energy that we all fought so hard to bring in. And I just posted a video of some people singing in the Walmart. And then right before that, and what I see every day, especially with how I've been clearing the timelines and so entrenched in even the media and the messages that are coming out to the public, because it's all coming through our 144,000 bodies, literally, to even get to you. And as right before that video, I saw two guys dancing to Cyndi Lauper at a gas station at 6 a.m. in the morning, a clip somebody brought in. And right before that, I saw, and this is all because I just been up a little bit, I saw a man, which I'll probably post, talking about Regulus and how he had a visitation and he was a ufologist and had an angel appear to him. And for me to see those messages this morning and not see anything else is showing me something big. And I really wanted, and my intention was to get this message out to all the warriors out there like me. All of us angels and warriors. That from the existence of us being here in this plane, I had a real hard time of it for a really long time. We still do. We still battle through these changes every day. And I just felt it on my heart to let everybody know that I see all of you. And I'm so proud of us. And I know how hard it's been. What we had to do to get this energy here is a story that's going to be told for the rest of existence. Once everybody even figures it out and the story's told. What we've learned about what Christ really is, what God really is, what angels really are, even what the dark forces really were in the end. There's so much that we've learned about spirituality and how the world really is run off your spiritual energy, every single thing in your life. A lot of us were Generation Xers. A lot of us grew up in the 70s or in the 80s. Not to say that the 90s babies weren't important. Everybody was important. But for those who, like me, grew and got here in the 70s and 80s and were buried in an illusion that we loved. We did. and watched the world change. All being a part of it, not realizing what our one little word and what our one little voice could do to change it. I think the biggest message that from all of us angels, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but for all of us that have come through this process, I think the biggest illusion that others see in us is that they feel like sometimes we've lost some of our emotional attachment. And I know Generation Xers get a little blamed for this. And it's a misconception. Truth is, we're so connected in with y'all, and the way it all works when you come through ascension is you feel every living being around you. You can read somebody's heart. You can read somebody's subconscious. You know if somebody's in trouble around you. You know if someone's really hurt around you. You have a pulse on a spiritual nerve of the human race. It's the best way to put it. And whenever you go through these masteries, because it is what it is. It's a levels just like your video games. It's a mastery that we had to, and that we signed up for. We were your original volunteers, most of us. There was only 100 of us in the beginning that volunteered to come down here, or up here, or over here. Wherever you came from, all a part of one whole. 100 of us held hands. And what's crazy is this happened in 2018. We didn't exactly know why. We didn't know what was coming. And in our world and in our understanding of even the 144,000 and how all of that worked, it had already been done before. Not that it was happening right then. But we had a precognition, you'd call it. Because us ancients, the Assyrians and the Vagans, we'd been watching this for a while. We didn't starseed for this reason. We knew it was all going to come down at some point because we had put it up. And I'll talk about this a little bit, and it's why, your Arcturians and even your Syrians, we can tell you a lot about the Matrix, and we can tell you a lot about the Matrix games, and we can tell you what's wrong with it too, because the Matrix that was written and that we were living in isn't how it started necessarily. It had changed drastically, and if you will, had plugged in to some voltage boxes that we weren't even aware existed. And I'm swollen because I had to get these teeth pulled, so if you see a little bit of puffiness or whatever, that's what's going on over here. It's almost like waves of spirituality in one big bubble that you feel like you're attached to. And I've talked about this date before, but it was April 27th, 2018. Whenever I jumped out of bed and I knew all of a sudden that over 50% of the population knew something was wrong down here. And it really is how it works. Your secrets that you tell to God, to Allah, to your angels, to Archangel Michael, to your husband, to your child, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you say them out loud or if you go in your closet, our closet. I don't know. Everybody give me a heart if you're hiding from your family in your closet or in your bathroom as you're going through this, just trying to get some peace to balance. I know the closet became my little cot for a while in the old house, and the bathroom too. And the bathtub, because we had to bridge that energy in through our bodies. We had to change our body structures. Our body structures have changed drastically. I know mine has. It just depends on the type of being you are and what type of template you are. But whenever you're talking to spirit and everybody down here, I mean, everybody was going inside. Something's not right. Something's not right. Something's not right down here. Even though we didn't know. And we're still figuring out how it all really happened and what was really happening. But you knew inside your spirit that something wasn't right. And that's when the plans went in motion. And then, unbeknownst to us and unbeknownst to you and unbeknownst to the world, there was a plan. And unbeknownst to you and unbeknownst to the world, there was already a structure to handle it. And it's so amazing how it all worked. Every single intention that your ancestors had ever made, and every single intention a species, a race of beings ever made, all culminated. The Egyptians and the Egyptian program and the mummification, even down to the Essenes and the Yahshua lines and the Mary Magdalene lines and all that, and how it was connected, and how we had these ancient tombs and everything, and the bones that we needed and the burials that we needed and the templates that we needed, all in the parts of the earth that were in this simulation that were powering us up in order to get into our energies. And that's 100. That was originally called from Venus and Sananda. The original 100 were asked to come down from Venus and Sananda. Sananda is another dimension of Yahshua, of Jesus, a lot of you call him. And then that 100 beings became 1,000. And then that 1,000 beings started attaching into a larger orb, a fabric, after we had walked a little bit, after we were tested inside and out. Inside and out. We were tested this whole time. And that fabric, that cosmic fabric that gave us the strength and the power, all of us 100 together, that turned into 1,000 together, all of us in one wave all over the world. everybody's higher self started coming up and attaching in with us, giving out information. Thank you for the gift. I've never had one before, so I appreciate that. We started holding like a library up there of higher selves information and helping people and getting to y'all, and for I can't wait for us to be able to finally come together and tell the world our stories and how others have contacted us and told us, you were in my dream, you were a dolphin, you came and saved me, you were in my dream, you pulled me out of my bed, and you took me to a classroom, and then you set me in the front row, and then you went back to the back and went to sleep. But the whole time I was back there looking at you going, it feels like you're the one who's teaching, but I look back there and you're asleep. All of 2018, 2019, there were so many of y'all that told me that story. You came to me and got me out of my bed and brought me to a classroom. You came to me as a dolphin, and I saw you, and because at first it was coming to you guys in dreams, and then it had gotten closer in these past couple of years with this full-on parallel battle that we've had. And what it really boiled down to was which one was going to take dominance. It is so close. It's so close, and it teetered so many times over the past 3 or 4 years, and every time it would teeter, us angels would go all the way down to the bottom. Every time. Every year that it didn't hook in, we'd start off basically in hell all over again. And I think one of the main reasons that I wanted to come on and just share this with y'all is to let y'all know we really did do it. We really did complete it. We really did complete the merger of the spheres. We really did shift. It's not just a theory anymore. This has happened. We will be we're terraforming now. For us, just knowing that part means the world to us, because we had no other choice but to just keep going. And when you find one of us and you talk to one of us, and depending on what energy we're in and what mood we're in, we might come across more militant like I did yesterday, or we might come across more pushy like I did yesterday, or more teachy. And sometimes you don't feel the emotion, because to tell you the truth, we ran out of it, some of it. We'd cried so much and been through so much, and we also know that whenever we're in that emotion, that we're not on guard. And there ain't nothing more in the world it means to us than the human race. And we'd rather you think that we're cold and militant and listen than think that we're all warm, fuzzy godmother, and how much we really love you and how much we really care. Because we know when we're in our emotions, we can't protect, and we're not as connected in, and we'll even take turns. My crew and I, we'd take turns none of us could all be upset or down in the dumps all at once. We all knew that if one of us had a bad day, that probably the next day the other one would have it. But there was always one of us that was, you can do it, cheering us on. There was always one of us that wasn't in their emotions. It's just so amazing how it works. And I don't want to be on here forever. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. I'm okay. I don't know. It's the energy. We've been at war for so long. In ways that it might even take us about a year to figure out how to tell you guys. As all of you maybe start seeing versions of it, because you still have to come out of it yourself. But the war we were in was to even give you something to come out into. The heavens really did fall to hell. The stars really did fall out of the sky. It's like a simulation it's kind of like a ship just ran into a simulation is when I out of my third eye, and when you get to the end of it and you start seeing the cosmos and seeing what I see, I'm still not exactly sure. All I know is it's really white out there. It's not black anymore, and we really were like inside, almost like a hole in space that was a large etheric body that over time we had figured out kind of how it just, it takes on its own life cycle and ends up morphing and working together. But if I look at it from, real far back, and this is part of the flat earth stuff, and in 1972, whenever we got here, because a whole bunch of us came from basically a parallel dimension. And this is even, I forget his name, that landed on the White House lawn, from Venus. And then they took his outfit and they were trying to figure out, how it was indestructible. It was made out of diamonds. God, I can't remember his name. But there were accords that were set, and there were a lot of people at the top that knew all of this. And all I know is that it is all linked to the original sacrifices of the families who were the earth and the Leophale, and even the pagan stuff that in a way kept it alive. What we found, not that I salute it, because none of it should be done anymore. That's the problem. It went on way too long because everybody forgot the reasons that it was happening. But what it did, in a way, was keep a time count inside that black hole body. And when large cycles of time came for rebirth, And when the cosmos needed to rebirth, and when the sun needed to rebirth, and whenever the planet blew up and we needed to birth the whole thing, this is where this druid intuition comes from, is being inside that body and being able to basically run up and down the pole of the reality. You know, a druid can be in the right forest, look at the right tree, and get a whole download message. And you know, we can understand that right now because of what we just went through. But I mean, this is even why the druid stuff was continuing with Elizabeth and Queen Elizabeth, and it's why a lot of those things were continuing, and not all of them were nefarious. I swear that woman pretty much didn't know half the crap that was going on, and it took 50,000 to make her. We found out in the end. It's like the machine took over of this reality and was running itself. I mean, we've even proven with the Amber Alerts that, because I can't even tell you. I mean, it just happened again 3 days ago. We will call in a piece of ourselves, or there'll be something in my crew that is showing us it's a nut, because we've been putting the soul back together, and from the highest, the one soul, because you know it's all about in the end putting yourself back together finally, so that you know you're whole. And whenever we'd have to call something in, or there'd be a new person that even popped up in our crew, AI release an Amber Alert. And the codes match. You know, I remember one time we were jumping the sun over Venus, or Venus over the sun. I can't remember. It was something like that. And I was at the front of the neighborhood, and I had to go drive past the pool to do it, because this was a couple of years ago. Because each year and each layer, what all of us that were connected in this consciousness were doing was laying like chutes and ladders all over the place. And because what had happened with heaven going into hell, when I say that, what happened was all the scaffolding that would be your layers in the etherics were gone. And that scaffolding in each layer is an evolution lesson for your life. So in essence, by 2021 is whenever we realized, as we were getting attacked, and as we were getting thrown out of LA, and as we were getting attacked with EMFs driving down the road, as they were trying to run us over with cars, as they were kicking us out of hotels, as they were luring us to hotels in order to siphon our energy, as they were trapping us in weird little death houses, and as they were making voodoo dolls out of us. I mean, you freaking name it. They did it to us. And if they did it to one of us, it hit all of us. It's how we got out of it. But each layer is like an evolution staircase of your soul. And then this is what the Mary Magdalene, this is the Christ teachings, and this is, you know, it's the real stuff, and it's explaining how to live down here, and it's explaining how to keep things in balance. it's just this missing piece in this consciousness that we were supposed to always have that was missing. And the best way to describe it was those of us who volunteered and then became the 100, and then those who volunteered basically with their souls and hearts that became the other 900, and then times 12, and then times 12, all the way up to the 144,000, and then times 12, and then times 12, and then times 12. In August 2022, we had 50 million that had personally volunteered and was working in a ring to be able to hold this consciousness. But each level having to prove and having to master the level ourselves. And once one of us achieved it, and once one of us shot out, because I mean, for the longest time, y'all's mad at me, but y'all's mad at me. No matter what group it was, you secretly kind of mad at me because in some weird way I was having to take your power, or I was having to take your knowledge, or I was having only for a minute, because what was happening was we was all working together and y'all were pushing me up as high as you could because I was the one that was made that couldn't die. I was the one that was a knowledge keeper. I was the one that could get out there on the other side of the ice wall, space, whatever you want to call it, that could come back in. And that is what I did. That is what we did. But once we shot up high enough to speak and got that frequency, once I got up there, I never came back down. And then y'all had to rise up to me. And that's why so many of us have been isolated these past couple of months, but it's also why I'm here right now today, and I'm going to end this pretty quick right after this. I just need all of you to know that we did it. It's done. I need you to say it as many times as you need to say it, the same as me. Because you ain't met this type of PTSD yet. And then for all of you who didn't have to walk some of this, please send us energy and prayer for us to be able to drop. It's not fear. It's not fear. It's more like the normal things that we would do in life. Like a money transaction, going to a bank, getting money. Money is a big one with us because we were on the other side and money killed most everybody in the future. The way it was set up before. So even right now, and me and my crew, we even ordering something online, even putting our credit card number in online can send a shock through us, because it's like the mouse that goes to get the cheese, and every time you do, it zaps you. Well, that's what's been happening to us every single time we tried to open a bank account, or do this or do that, or pay this or pay that, or talk to a new person. Even a new person come in that you're having to trust. So many of us, I mean, that's one of the final tests. You got to be led like a lamb to the slaughter, literally. And you have to have complete faith. All the while knowing that demon is taking you somewhere, but it's pulling you out of this situation over here that's even worse, because in the end, you know, they's all our friends. We're helping everybody get out of here. There ain't nobody down here that even in that low frequency energy, there was only a couple of factions that were not human that were in the suit. And those are the ones that are now in a planetary processing. And what that means, that is that parallel leaves, because it can join to make the vector Pisces. So that's what we've been walking, is the vector Pisces, the future and the past, to weave it back together, to put it back into an alignment that matched a DNA count. 1,800 years is what we changed per the DNA. 1,200 years and 900 years are what is being course corrected in the reality timelines. But the human, it's 1,800 years that's being rewritten and reprocessed and reestablished correctly. And it has to be done because those lines hold different etheric layers of ground, of land, of water. I mean, because even the oceans, the water, the rivers, everything was off. Nothing was where it was supposed to be, because the bodies that are vertical, that are holding it up, weren't awake. It was more like it all landed on its side, and so there's this, as these parallel realities split, almost like seeing it pulled, and those, you can picture, there's so much anime and stuff with this, two balls, electric balls being pulled apart. As it keeps getting pulled and it turns to like a micro dust, would be the best way to describe it. It's going to go through, for sure, that zeta line, which is connected more into the silicone, which is connected more into artificial. However, because of the times we're in, and because this is setting up for the next million years, and because we do have so many different types of beings here, there's really not anybody that can't become a real boy or a real girl right now. There's not anybody who can't come back from, if they had been, taken over by any type of energetic vampire or voodoo dolled or whatever. Because, man, it's nuts down here. It's really nuts. Like, it blew our minds. How cannibalistic the human race had become, all to get all for an energy that's rightfully yours and is free to begin with. And that's what really blew us angels' minds. It's why we couldn't, it didn't make sense to us why all this was happening, and why there was so much loss of life, and why so many people sacrificing in people's names, and It didn't make any sense, because you didn't have to do any of that to get it. I ask for an experience to happen between now and the end of the year, the end of 2023, to anybody in the world that has been holding this energy with us, and anybody that has a huge mission ahead now, and anybody that really needs to know and see a sign, like me, that it's over and that help is coming. more help. I'm not talking about starships coming out of the sky or anything like that. I'm talking about, my dream is that all of us get together and actually build an organization and do something now. Just support. Just help. Whatever experience that the human has asked for, because you have. It's all very organized. Adesso chiarentare mirendia satoro shikara morindia. Andare che chiede satare setere tore morindia tare chiarentare sete shikere morindia tare miehe. Adesso chiendo hai asaterendo ia. I ask, and what I just did was send out through the universe for all those experiences to be lined up for everybody that needs to see whatever it is that we need to see, to know that we're here. It's time to build. The war is over, and we can open our hearts now. Y'all have an amazing Merry Christ consciousness. Let your hearts be open. Step with no fear. Always show your pure heart. If you do that, I promise, you will always get led to safety. Don't judge others that are different than you. And allow this energy to ground within your families. And if you're like me and you don't have much of a family right now because you just came through this war, or if you're like me and you're not with your child because of this war, I command that the Most High bring our children back to us. And then any government agencies or any wrongs that were done against us mothers, to our sons and our daughters and our children, with only one reason, which was to stop this energy from getting here so that all evil could take over and consume the world. I command our children be delivered back to us. And I command that if it doesn't happen this Christmas, that by next Christmas, our children are back in our arms. And I command that this Christmas, we're feeling the effects from next year. And to all my sisters and brothers who are without their children because of this, I stand with you. And I love you. And I know exactly what you're going through. And I know that you also allowed it to happen in order for us to succeed. And I honor you for what you gave up. And I promise we will get those years back. It's on the books. I love y'all. Have a great day. I'm an emotional mess.